Welcome to the last lesson on natural vegetation of India. In our previous lessons, we discussed that India's natural vegetation is very diverse. From here, one can find tropical rainforests, deciduous forests, mangroves, and even thorns and scrubs. Now, all these forests form the natural wealth and are the true assets of our country. So, in today's lesson, we shall focus on the importance of natural vegetation or forest in India and how we can conserve these forests. The video links of all the lessons from this series are provided in the description for your reference. So, let's begin today's lesson. Well, have you ever heard of Chipko movement or Chipko Andolon that took place in the year 1973 in the forest of Uttarakhand? Well, it is actually a non-violent forest conservation movement where the women were keen to protect these forests from being chopped by government loggers. Now, the word Chipko is actually a Hindi word which means to hug or cling on. It actually refers this act of local women who hugged these trees in order to impede the loggers. Now, can you tell me why were these women so keen or eager to protect these forests? This is because they realized the importance of these forests in their daily life and therefore they wanted to protect it from being exploited. Yes, forest is indeed a valuable natural resource. It is as important as other gifts of nature like air, water, etc. Whether you realize it or not, but we directly or indirectly depend on forests. That is to say that our very existence or survival depends on forests or plants. Well, all of you must be knowing that the four basic things that are required for our survival or existence are air, shelter, water and food. This is to say that we cannot live without these four basic things. These things are so important that the scientists are spending dollars in order to discover them in other planets. Now, let me tell you an interesting fact. All these things are obtained directly or indirectly from plants. Yes, plants provide us with the basic things that we require for our existence or survival. That is, the air or oxygen that we breathe in comes from plants. Again, the timber that is required for building our shelter or homes comes from plants. Also, plants provide us with fresh water in the form of rain. And the fruits, vegetables, cereals, pulses, etc. that form a major part of our diet comes from plants. So we see that plants provide us with all the basic things that are required for our survival. Thus, plant is indeed a valuable natural resource. So as mentioned just now, plants give off oxygen which is in turn inhaled by animals or human beings. Again, carbon dioxide gas that is exhaled by human beings is absorbed by plants. So we see that there is an exchange of gases between plants and animals. Now, this oxygen gas that is given off by plants is very important. It helps us to perform all the metabolic activities in our lives. Thus, plants is the supplier of fresh oxygen on earth and in fact it can also be considered as the lungs of our mother earth. Well, apart from oxygen, plants also give off moisture or water vapor through leaves by the process of transpiration. Now, this moisture or water vapor exhaled by the plants eventually form clouds and cause rainfall. Thus, plant is the natural supplier of fresh water in the form of rain. This also helps to regulate global temperature by providing or causing a cooling effect. Now, most of the things that we use or see in our daily lives like sugar, tires, paper, cotton clothes. In fact, the food we eat and the furniture that we use comes from plants. So we can see that apart from oxygen and water, plants also provide us with a number of valuable items that we use, eat or see in our daily lives. Now before proceeding with our lesson, let us try to answer this. Which one of the following is not obtained from plants? And the options given are fruits, timber, meat, cotton. Well, which of these options do you think is the correct one? Well, we just discussed that plants provides us with fruits, timber and cotton. But can we obtain meat from plants? Of course not. Meat is obtained from the flesh of animals and it is not obtained from plants. So, the item that is not obtained from plants is meat. So, meat will be the correct option. Now, we know that plants grow on soil. Now, in this process, they hold the soil firmly with their root systems. And this prevents the soil from being eroded due to surface runoff. Thus, we can see that plants prevent soil erosion. Now, there is another way in which plants prevent this soil erosion. That is, the plants obstruct the wind blow by acting as excellent shelter belts. Well, this is to say that if you plant trees in a perpendicular direction to the wind flow, then the flow of the wind will get obstructed by planting these trees and therefore the soil will not be eroded. Thus, here we see that plants hold the soil firmly and they also obstruct wind flow, and this is how plants can prevent soil erosion. So, here we find that plants are the true assets of the environment, and therefore to protect the environment we must plant more trees and we must protect these plants. Now look at this picture. Here we can see many wild animals like chimpanzees, gorillas, toucans, poisonous snakes, frogs, leopards, etc. Now, where do you think these wild animals live? Yes, these wild animals are mostly found in forest. So, forest is the home or natural habitat of these wild animals. Just imagine what will happen if we cut down trees or destroy the forest. Yes, these poor animals will become homeless and they will eventually die. So, the very existence of these animals depend on plants because plants protect them by providing shelter. So, till now we discussed about various importance of forest or plants. Forest is the natural supplier of oxygen and it also acts as carbon sink. That is, plants give off oxygen and it absorbs carbon dioxide gas. Also, plants provide us with a number of valuable products like timber, cotton, sugar, etc. Also, plants cause rain and helps to regulate temperature. Plants also prevent soil erosion by holding the soil firmly and by acting as shelter belts. Also, forest is the habitat of wildlife. That is, plants protect many wild animals by providing them shelter. So, from these facts, we find that plant is indeed a valuable natural resource. So, we must look for ways in which we can conserve them. So, now let us discuss about how we can conserve natural vegetation or forests of India. In our previous lessons, we discussed that the natural vegetation of India is very diverse and different types of forests exist in this country. Now, this pie chart shows the percentage of land that is covered by very dense forest and it is 2.5%. then the percentage of land covered by moderately dense forest is 9.7%, and the open forested area is 8.8%, and the portion of land covered by scrubs or thorns is 1.2%. Now, if we add these figures, then we will get that approximately 22% of the total land area is covered by green or forest. However, the remaining 77% is the non-forested area. So here we find that the green cover or the forested area is quite less compared to the non-forested area. Now this is a matter of concern because according to the National Forest Policy of 1988, at least 1/3 of the total land area of a country must be under the forest, or at least 33% of the total land area should be dedicated to the forest. But the current statistic shows that only 22% is under forest. So we can find that we are lagging behind by a great margin, and therefore we must buck up and we must try to look for ways in which we can increase the forest cover or vegetation cover of India. Well, in order to increase and protect the natural vegetation of India, a forest research institute has been set up in Dehradun, Uttarakhand. See, this is the picture of Forest Research Institute of India, which is situated in Dehradun, Uttarakhand. Now, the main objective of this organization is to increase the vegetation cover of India, to create general awareness among people, to protect the forest, and to also look after the welfare of the people living in and around the forest. So yes, this organization not only looks after the forest but also looks after the people who are very much dependent on the forest. Now, this act of maintaining the forest and also looking after the welfare and benefits of local communities who are very much dependent on the forest is known as social forestry. So, social forestry refers to the management of forest and also looking after the welfare of local communities or local dwellers who are very much dependent on these forests. So, under this scheme, forestry and cropping are done together. The main objective of this policy is to promote or increase the vegetation cover and also to meet the needs of local communities, to create employment for them and also to improve their living standards. Under social forestry, mostly the barren or fallow land are used for planting fuel wood or fodder plants. In this way, the original or native forests are protected from being exploited, and also the needs of local communities for fuel wood and fodder are maintained or satisfied. So, under this scheme of social forestry, three objectives are maintained simultaneously. Firstly, the original forests are maintained. Secondly, there is increase in green belts or vegetation cover. And thirdly, the needs of local people are maintained and also their living standards improve because cropping and forestry provides employment to them. So, we find that social forestry is an important way in which we can protect the forest of India and also benefit the local people. Now, there is another important way in which we can protect the natural vegetation or forest of India, and that is by stopping deforestation and by promoting afforestation. Now, we all know that deforestation refers to the act of indiscriminate cutting down of forests or trees for meeting the needs of citizens, for the needs of urbanization and industrialization. So deforestation is an evil activity because here the human beings are cutting down forests in order to satisfy their own needs. Now, just opposite to deforestation is the act of afforestation, which refers to the act of planting trees or re-establishing forests. So being a responsible citizen, we must stop deforestation and promote afforestation as much as possible. However, due to growing population and need for urbanization, sometimes deforestation becomes unavoidable. That is, sometimes we cannot resist ourselves from cutting down trees due to growing needs. So what can we do? Well, we can apply one trick. This is to say that if we are cutting down one tree, then instead we can plant 2 more trees in another part. So if we are cutting down one tree in one part, you can plant 2 other trees in another plant. And this will help to maintain the overall stock of plant resources in any region. Now, every year in India, the first week of July is observed as One Mahotsav week, or the week in which tree planting festivals are celebrated all over India in schools, colleges, etc. Now, this drive has been started by the government in order to encourage more and more people to plant trees and also to create general awareness among people regarding the environment, plants, etc. So, by planting more and more trees, we will not only make our earth greener but also beautiful. And we must remember that the greener the earth, the better it is. That is, the green earth is a better place to live in. So instead of cutting down trees for our own selfish purposes, we must actually plant trees. The more and more trees are around us, the better place it will be to live in. So in today's lesson, we discussed about various importance of forests. Forest provides us with oxygen, water, valuable plant products, and it also acts as the habitat of wildlife and prevents soil erosion. Since forest is a valuable natural resource, so we must look for ways in which we can conserve them. A good way to conserve the forest and also to meet the local needs of people who are dependent on the forest is social forestry. Thus, social forestry should be practiced in the country all over. Also, we must stop deforestation and promote afforestation as much as possible. So, by following these ways, we will be able to make our country greener and more beautiful. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon. You can also register for free at DeltaStep.com or download the DeltaStep app to learn one-to-one with our amazing teachers or to get access to our 5,000 amazing videos as per your school syllabus. Master each topic with our adaptive practice technology. Get million-plus questions with step-by-step solutions and unlimited mock tests. Get all your doubt resolved instantly. Learn via games and win amazing prizes like PlayStations and iPads. So at DeltaStep, learning is not just fun and easy, but it's rewarding too. So register for free now.